listening to a podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants with hosts Willie Dills, Chad King, and Ben Lee.
Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Let's go Giants! SF Giants!
Dedicated to the greatest team in Major League Baseball history, the San Francisco Giants, this is Torture Cast. Welcome, everybody, to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. My name is Willie Dills. This is episode 43, which I love the person that this number represents, Dave Dravecky. That brings back a ton of memories all over the late 80s Giants, and some pretty crazy stuff went down with him. If you're a Giants fan, you know what I'm talking about. I won't get into it, but I will introduce Chad King. What's up, dude? How you doing, man?
Pretty good. My arm is okay.
Yeah? No major surgery?
No breaking of the arm on my podcast.
You're not going to throw it out on the mound? Okay,
I'm good.
So it's been a little while since we've done a show, but it is the off season. So
yeah, Happy New Year, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you too, man. And happy 49ers Super Bowl appearance. That's
What are you doing for the Super Bowl, by the way?
Well, so my birthday is on the 4th, and the Super Bowl tends to fall right around my birthday all the time.
Sure.
So usually there's like some kind of whatever celebration about. Usually there's a Super Bowl party, and then my party is totally separate. But this is, the 49ers in the Super Bowl, so a bunch of my family in Antioch are going to throw like a barbecue, make a bunch of pies and cakes and good food and stuff, and get together and watch it. So that should be good. What about you? Don't you do like some big
party or anything like that?
What's that?
No Super Willie party or anything like that?
No. Don't you do like a big? Don't you go to some big thing?
Yeah,
tell me about that
every year. Actually, one of my teammates for baseball. He's a good old crafty pitcher. Let's just say that he has like 5 acres here in Gilroy, and he throws one hell of a party. We get about 60, 70 people that come to this thing. But in the morning, he has a tournament, a poker tournament. And it's fantastic. So
that's right. Yeah, this sounds amazing. I want to go to this.
And everything. So.
Wow. You got to get me a +1 at some point on that thing, dude. That sounds awesome.
Oh, dude, it is so much fun. So, yeah, I already registered for the tournament, so I'll be playing at 9 a.m.
Oh, damn. All right.
Well, we got to get the tournament out of the way.
That's true. A poker tournament is not, that's not like a little 1-hour affair. You know what I mean? If you're going to have that many people, that's going to be...
No, we already have 32 people in the tournament.
Holy crap. So. All right, well, good luck, man. How much can you win?
Honestly, last year, I think the winner took home $400.
Wow, all right. Well,
yeah, so, and by the way, I have $240 riding on the Niners.
Oh,
this weekend. So,
any like point spread or just
no,
it's
victory?
Not
like I put 240 down. Basically, we have our fantasy football league, which has been going on for 19 years now. By the way, it's pretty insane. We used to actually compute stats through the box scores.
Before they had like Yahoo fantasy football and all that.
Yeah. So basically, we have side prop bets, and so part of our buy-in for the year. All 12 teams, we have 12 teams, obviously 12 guys that play in this league. At the end of the year, whoever, we have a Super Bowl and the whole thing, whoever wins money. But the side bet, which is a part of our $100 buy-in for the year, is whoever finishes in the number 1 seed down to the 12 seed gets to pick out of the 12 playoff teams, who's going to go to the Super Bowl. And whoever wins Super Bowl wins $240. So, of course, I had the number 4 pick, and the Niners were left.
Wow, they went all the way to 4, huh?
Yeah, they dropped all the way to 4. Well, it was Denver.
I guess you got Patriots. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the Niners were sitting there pretty, and I almost went with the Falcons, but I was like, no, man, I got to go home. Because the Falcons are going to choke.
Yeah, the Falcons.
So I went Niners.
They were always going to choke.
Exactly what happened.
Yeah. That's amazing, dude. All right, well, good luck on that, too. I can't bet against, like, the Giants or the Niners. I have a friend, actually, a good guy from the MGA. We call him Max Lanier. His real name is Max Lanier. But he will always bet against the Giants and the Niners because
it's
and
that
the Warriors.
philosophy of like I'll win either way, right?
Exactly. He thinks, well, if we lose, then I won money, and if we win, then we won. So I don't care.
Nah, I totally understand that proposition. But this is the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not like you have one choice.
Yeah.
You have 12 choices. Well, when it was down to me, I still had 8 choices left. So I was like, well, I got to go Niners.
No, I think I would have picked them with one. I mean, I was feeling good about this team for a long time.
Yeah,
but,
they're pretty amazing right now. So
yeah, you know what? Just fingers crossed. It's to me. Okay, what do you and me are probably bigger Giants fans, right?
yeah, no, Giants number 1, Niners number 2.
Okay, so like a World Series win is going to outshine a Super Bowl win in your mind.
Oh, any day.
Yeah.
I mean, if Niners won 3 Super Bowls in the next 4 years, and the Giants only won, let's say, 1 World Series in the next 10 years, I'd rather cherish the World Series victory.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way I am. So that's the way I'm programmed. I mean, hey, you and I were spoiled as kids anyway with the Niners winning every other year. So,
I mean, it was my first year on this planet, the Niners were the World Series champion. So, and then it happened 4 more times by the time I was 14 years old. So I just figured that's just how that works. That's how football is. When it comes to football, the Niners just win. And when it comes to baseball, it's painful and it never happens. And we still care much more about that. So that was just, to me, it was weird when the Niners weren't good for so long. That was just bizarre.
Because what the Niners won the last Super Bowl in 1995. I was 21 years old.
Well, 94 was the year, but 95 obviously is the Super Bowl.
Yeah, January 95. Yeah. So 18 years ago, I was 21 years old. So now I'm 39. So it's nice to have a little bit of Niners back in the system. And I think they're going to be good for quite some time.
For a long time, yeah. As long as they don't, I mean, there's a couple of guys who potentially could lead. Well, really, Goldson is the one guy you really worry about after this year. But after that, I mean, they don't even have. It used to always be that all the offensive linemen were somehow all 37, and actually we have an offensive line that's fairly young as well. So we got a couple of guys who are veterans at like 32 or whatever. But I mean, pretty much everybody on this team is fairly young. So it's looking
they're
good,
4.5 point favorites, and they're 5-0 in Super Bowl. So there's that added mystique.
Sure,
you know what I mean? It's like keeping the perfect record in the Super Bowl. Look at New England. I mean, New England was a juggernaut like 10 years ago.
Yeah, and they haven't won in a long time.
They're 3-2 in their last 5 Super Bowls or whatever. Tom Brady just can't quite get it going. So it's kind of nice to see that. Yeah,
let's hope that. I mean, I would love it if the Niners were just always that team that just never lost once we got there. That would just be fantastic.
Yeah, I know Pittsburgh has 6, but if San Francisco can tie them with a perfect record, it's all good.
I think that's better. All right, well, let's talk baseball, man. Enough of this football. Football's whatever.
I smell grass.
It was funny? You posted something today that said, I think it was like, February pitchers and catchers are reporting for duty the 12th or something like that, right?
Yeah,
and
it's like 2 weeks.
And I know it's coming up. And somebody posted back and said, the Niners are in the Super Bowl and it's hockey season. And to me, I saw that comment and I said, no, it's almost baseball season.
It's almost baseball, man.
There's 2 parts of the year. There's baseball season and then there's almost baseball season. And that's pretty much how it works.
That person, it was on Facebook, he liked our page. So he's a Giants fan. What is he saying?
Yeah, I know. It's weird. But you know what? Whatever. We take all comers. Anyone who's a Giants fan,
we'll take it.
We're down. All right, let's talk about what's going on with the Giants. It is the offseason, so there's not a ton of stuff going on. But we have a lot of guys who were up for arbitration, and we've actually pretty much taken care of everybody at this point. We got one guy still left to sign, and then there's a couple little spots here and there that we're not sure exactly what's going to go. But we're talking bench players right now. We're not even talking starters. So big news, obviously, was Buster Posey and Hunter Pence. Buster signed for just 1 year, which I was a little surprised, but I think that was just really a stopgap to wait for. Yeah, they needed to sign him because, time was running out, basically. So they had to ink something. But pretty much it's just to not rush the long-term negotiations, right? Are you on the same page with me that that's really what's going on here?
I saw a lot of tweets and posts about how the hell did Hunter Pence sign for $13.8 million for 1 year and Buster Posey only signed for 8. These are the fans that may not quite understand how arbitration works and how the rules work in baseball. But, Hunter Pence has 5 years of eligibility, let's say, or service to the major league. So how these arbitration numbers are set.
Yeah, and multiple
Buster
years.
Posey only has 2+ years.
Yeah.
Of service, so that's
basically
how it works.
1.5 if you really think about it.
Yeah, if you add it all up.
You know what I mean? But and also Hunter Pence has multiple seasons where he's got like a ton of RBIs and good batting average and home runs, and so it's production over an extended period of time. Whereas Buster has obviously more MVPs than Hunter Pence does, but one in one season basically, and then he had a half a season where he was absolutely ridiculous. But it's true. This is not what Buster Posey's going to make per year, though, in a couple of years from now.
No, Hunter Pence did not make $8 million his third year,
No.
so you have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
So when Buster Posey hits his 5th, 6th, 7th year, just like Hunter Pence is now, he's going to be making $20 to $25 million a year.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if he keeps up anywhere near the production he's got going now, or he has had in the last year and a half of actual playtime. I mean, you look at his numbers and you just say, well, let's go ahead and I've seen some of this, like let's go ahead and project this with the expected amount of detriment due to being a catcher, and you give him, say, a 15-year career, which is he could probably go longer than that if he switches to first base at some time, But that's a healthy career basically, and his numbers are ridiculous, like first ballot Hall of Fame, no problem, So it's he's gonna get his payday. So don't anybody cry over Buster making less than 100
Pence.
Pence.
So any fans out there saying that Buster needs to make more than 8, no, this is the way the system works. So he will get his payday.
Yeah. And actually, this was the highest I think for first year arbitration since I think it was Lincecum got 9 in his first year of arbitration, which at that time he had won a Cy Young. It's kind of a similar situation,
And I think it's smart of the Giants to not negotiate a long-term deal yet with Hunter Pence. They're kind of riding the fence right now, and I think this is what they're waiting for, because Hunter Pence is a .290 career hitter, but he hit .210 with the Giants.
Yeah, if he comes out and has a lackluster year, he's not going to come back. Obviously,
he had a lot of RBIs and all that stuff, but I think they're kind of waiting for him, maybe at the 1/3, the 1/2 mark of this year to see where his trajectory is heading. And if he is right back onto his .290, career, hitting statistic, I think the Giants are absolutely all in to sign him to a long-term deal.
Yeah.
He's made it very publicly clear through interviews and through Twitter and other avenues that he wants to be a Giant. He loves this team. He wants to stay here. But at the same time, I understand the Giants' tack. If he's still a .210 hitter come July or August, it
doesn't make sense.
Okay,
yeah,
I know you want to be here, but
yeah, I mean the Giants are being very, very smart, I think, about how they're handling all of these situations, because these are touchy. I mean, it's a good problem to have, obviously, having a place where people want to stay. But the other problem is that even though these people say they want to stay, no baseball player these days does the hometown discount, right? So they all still want to get paid. So just because they want to stay doesn't necessarily mean that it makes sense when you're talking about the entire, fitting all the pieces into the puzzle. And you don't want to just fall in love with a guy because he's a fan favorite. Even though it's hard as fans to say that logically, that that's the case. And Sabian's been the whole Brian Wilson thing, they handled that the right way, I think. They publicly came out and said, we do want him. We just can't pay him this amount of money. There was no bad blood ever. And, and it's become painfully obvious by the lack of interest in this guy and Brian Wilson that, they took the right stance. Like, they didn't just give him what he wanted.
And I feel so bad for the guy. Because,
no, me too. Yeah.
I think he personally handled it wrong in terms of being slighted by the Giants because they were just making a business decision. But the fact is that he's had his second Tommy John surgery, and there's not really a proven track record and not a lot of data for players who've had 2 Tommy Johns. And so, okay, fine. He goes out and tests the free agent market, and he had some interest from the Mets. And so he had a workout, and Sandy Alderson, the ex-GM for the A's, now for the Mets, went out and actually personally witnessed his workout. And according to the media, he was, quote, not impressed.
Yeah.
By Wilson's performance.
That's not a good sign. Yeah,
that is not a good sign. Yeah. And I can't imagine him signing, aside from a minor league deal, with anyone else. And so it might come back to the Giants. You never know. They might take a.
It's possible. I've heard some things recently that made it sound unlikely, though. So
probably unlikely.
Yeah. If anything, though, I could see if nobody's picked him up at all, and it's minimum money contract, and it's just here you go, get earn a shot back on the big league squad, and nobody else is picking. And he says, "I want to keep playing," because he could also get to the point nobody wants him. I could see Brian Wilson being like, "Well, screw it, man. I'm just going to go do something weird. I'm going to have I'm going to be like a rodeo clown or something now because I'm going to try to get into a media job or something." I mean, I could
do a little Dennis
see that.
Rodman, fashion shows or
something. Get all Dancing with the Stars or something. Get all weird and try to get in on that celebrity while he still has it. But hopefully, whatever happens, he's okay because I do love the guy, and I hope things turn out okay for him. So those two guys locked up, but we're talking about they have 1-year contracts now. That's not the full story. There's potentially more around the corner, and probably the Posey deal will happen no matter how he's doing throughout the year. I mean, I think pretty much we know that he's going to stick around at least for the rest of his arbitration years, and maybe potentially a couple more, depending on if the Giants want to make that big blockbuster deal. We also got a couple of our lesser-known guys, but also very important to this squad and big parts of the World Series win. That's, of course, Joaquin Arias, Gregor Blanco, and Jose Mijares. And these guys, Mijares got 1.8. That's pretty decent money for a reliever, especially a lefty who doesn't pitch that many innings. But
you look at these names, and I think most Giants fans, if you said, out of these three guys, who got the most money?
Oh, I think people would probably think it was Blanco, but maybe.
Blanco, exactly. But no, it was Mijares. He got $1.8 million.
Well, but it makes sense, though, to me, because a guy like Mijares, there's not a lot of them out there. I mean, you think that, lefty guy, whatever, but he's not a guy who's just, I can only come in and do the lefties. And none of our lefties are really like that, except maybe Lopez, but Lopez, even still, I'm okay with going up against a righty. But Mijares also, he has some life to his fastball, and he's got good control, and you can kind of rely on him to take care of a game, especially a close game where you want to have trust in these guys. There's not a ton of guys you can have trust in, and he's proven that he's had a bunch of good seasons now. So it makes sense to me that he got 1.8. Blanco 1.35 is, I guess we expected it from some of the late year stuff, but if you'd said that he was going to get 1.35 in another year with the Giants, in September, you might not think that's possible. I mean,
he had his salary last year was $525, so he almost tripled it. So that's pretty good. But that has to do again with his length of service in the major leagues. So it's not just stats; it's also how long you've stuck around in the league. So.
Yeah, which obviously, I mean, Arias is younger and less service and got less money. So
and he signed for $925. So
and you know what?
I'd take $925. I'd be good with that.
Hey, I don't make anywhere near that amount of money. I'm good to go. Let's do this. But also, I mean, I think Arias proved that he's valuable as hell for this team. I mean, if you talk about, we haven't signed Terrio yet either, so we don't really know what our other infielder is, our other backup infielder is. But when you have Arias, you feel pretty good because he can play anywhere. He's solid. He's got a fantastic arm, great glove, and he can get hot. So, I think he's at $925. That's a deal for sure. We know what this kid can do. So,
well, if you rewind time and look at the playoffs, if we didn't have Arias, we don't win. It's funny. It's not like he was a Posey or a Romo or whatever, but it's the little things that he did that altered the course of games.
Well, let's talk about one very important one where he hit a ball that obviously was an error too, but
that's right.
Had the leg speed to beat it out and maybe rush that play a little bit. And that's game 3 of the DS, and Posey doesn't score if he doesn't beat that throw out. So, I mean, that was massive. That one play. I mean, that was the winning run, the first win of the postseason for us. So, hell yeah, if that's worth $925K, dude, I'm in. Let's do this.
You know what? It's funny because, all these guys have agents. You ever think that their agents sit down and they say, hey, my guy, it wasn't for that ground ball that he hit.
I bet they do, man. I would.
$300,000 right there in his contract.
I think I would, honestly. I would totally do that. I know Barry Zito's agent's going to do that. He's going to be like, "Hey, man, rally Zito." He's like, "I think we need another 7 years, man. I think we need another 7 years at 150 mil."
7 years, 155.
Yeah, exactly.
Not good.
So the only guy that's still left to be signed, actually, Terrio still hasn't signed, but he's not an arbitration eligible player. He's basically a free agent.
He's a free agent, and by most accounts, he's not going to be re-signed by the Giants. So
yeah, it's I think we would love to have him back, but I get the feeling he's kind of at that point in his career. He probably wants to play if he can, and it may not happen, but that's more attractive when you're talking about a guy in
his colorful outfits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Romo has not signed yet either, and they actually went to arbitration, which some of these other guys avoided it, and they actually did go. So they did file two different amounts, but they're not far off. They're really not far off from each other. They're a little less than $2 million off. Romo filed at $4.5 million, and the Giants countered with $2.675. So they're not very far off at all, and they'll probably end up splitting the middle. It'll be somewhere around 3.25.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3.5.
Yeah, which totally makes sense. He's totally worth it. And the only real question mark with him, obviously, is durability, but I really don't think that it's a real question mark.
I think he proved a lot of the naysayers, and I was one of them, by the way.
Sure.
That said, hey, he can't handle the constant closing day after day. There's no way, but he proved it. He proved he could in the last 2 months of the season and through the postseason. I mean, he was
plenty strong when we needed.
I mean, obviously, 162 games is a different story, but when it counted, he was there. He didn't blow a single thing or a single game that mattered for us.
No, you look at his stats compared to Brian Wilson in 2010, and there's not a huge difference. I mean, Wilson gave up 0 everything, but Romo only gave up 1 run the whole time.
Yep.
And and it wasn't a run that cost us a game either, really. So I mean,
no, it was against the Reds in the clincher for Game 5.
So that was just basically the Reds trying to fight for their lives there at the very tail end of that game.
That was that crazy ninth inning.
That was what was it, like a 20 pitch at bat or something? He had? I mean, that was crazy.
I know.
But so honestly, he has innings and at bats like that early in the postseason, and still comes out and basically just dismantles the Triple Crown winner to win the entire World Series. So he was clearly fresh at the end of a very long, very grueling postseason.
Yeah, he said, "Screw you. Here's my 88-mile-an-hour fastball because you're expecting a slider."
You never seen one of these, have you?
World Series. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that honestly, as a Giants fan, doesn't get any better than that moment.
No, that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about what also has happened besides some of the signings and everything. Now, there's a couple of smaller things. We picked up some minor league contracts on a couple of guys. We won't really get into all that. That's the nuts and bolts. Right now, let's talk about a big thing that happened for the Giants universe, which is the most recent Hall of Fame voting. Now, this is not just big for the Giants universe, but a lot of team fan bases had some people in this ballot this year that, I mean, no one got in. Baseball Writers Association of America voted in 0 Hall of Famers this year. 0.
Only second time ever that's happened.
Yeah. So basically, they're just saying, no, we don't want anyone to be part of our club. And I got to say, man, I was pretty heated the day of this vote. I know a lot of people were. How did you react to this?
I guess I wasn't surprised, knowing what the writers.
No, yeah, I wasn't surprised. But
we're going to do, but. I was pissed. And here's the thing. Look, a lot of people, friends, contacts, bloggers, whatever, say, hey, Giants fans are going to be pissed because Bonds isn't getting in because they're biased. Okay, fine. I can understand that point of view. But backing yourself off of that, even looking at Clemens, because, I don't like Clemens. I really don't. I don't like him as a player, as a person, whatever. I think he had an ego, just the same way that a lot of people who aren't Giants fans hated Bonds. And I know that Bonds wasn't a good guy. He wasn't a good role model, all that stuff. But how can you draw the line? It's such a gray area of performance-enhancing drugs. Granted, Clemens was connected to it and Bonds was connected to it. And I know a lot of Giants fans will say, "Oh, well, Bonds never tested positive and all that crap." Well, no. Look,
Yeah, but
I truly believe that
yeah.
he took drugs. There's no doubt in my mind that he took PEDs. Same with Clemens, same with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, and Rafael Primero and all these guys. But he lived in the era of steroids, and I know that.
And he was one of the big ass dudes doing amazing things. So
yeah,
come on.
And so many of these players say that they never did it, but I think there's pretty good evidence that a good portion of the player base was, taking steroids. And then you look at all the previous people who have already been put in the Hall of Fame, and you look at their credentials in terms of morality, PEDs, and everything that they did in their lives, because Pete Rose is banned for life because he gambled in the game. Okay, fine, I understand that. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and all these guys aren't being admitted right now because of their PED connection. We have Ty Cobb, who was one of the worst, hypocrites, bigots, and womanizers that you could imagine on the face of this planet, was admitted in.
Yeah, went into the fans to beat up black people.
That's right.
In his career.
I know. You had Gaylord Perry, here we go, another Giant, right?
Yeah.
I think the guy is great.
But well-known cheater. Very well-known
cheater.
Yeah.
Now, how is his spitballing, which was known and documented before he was voted into the Hall of Fame, have any difference with PEDs? I don't get that.
Yeah.
And he was voted in, no problem.
Well, it's not just that, though, too.
You have
but
all the Mets and the Red Sox and all the other and the Pirates scandals with cocaine,
Sure,
and greenies and everything else from the 70s and 80s, and you have a lot of these guys going into the Hall of Fame. So it comes to the point of you're voted because you did well versus what your peers did. Maybe not what baseball players did 50 years ago. So what Bonds did against his peers, even with PEDs, is, an order of magnitude higher than what they did.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand. I guess the writers, though, I've heard this comment, is that it's not that Bonds won't get in necessarily, although that is a possibility. You look at Mark McGwire, right? His vote total has gone down every single year. And so quite clearly he's not going to get in unless the Veterans Committee votes him in years from now. It's possible next year or the year after, the Veterans Committee, not the Veterans Committee, but the writers may go, okay, well, we were just trying to make a statement, saying that we didn't want him to be a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer.
All right,
but
so
now
hold
we're
on.
Vote him in.
That's
but
just
he was only at
that's
37%.
stupid as hell. I'm sorry.
He was
that's
only at 37%. So that you have to have 75%. So what that means is that you have to double his vote next year or the year after or the year after. I honestly don't see that happening. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think there's so many things to this that just piss me off. I mean, not only that, there's the fact that a lot of guys never even played against some of the best players in baseball, so they weren't even playing against the best guys at the time because there was no black people in the major league. Those guys are in, no problem. That's no big deal. Then you've got then you've got the fact that saying I want to control what ballot they go in on and make that somehow matter is the stupidest thing ever. It's you putting some type of like, I don't care what ballot somebody got in to the Hall of Fame. Are they a Hall of Famer or not? It's the whole, like, let's add another thing on, another addendum on who's greater than the other guy because, he's first ballot Hall of Famer. It's so arbitrary and stupid. And to
stand on.
Yeah, to not vote for a guy just to deny him that extra accolade that doesn't even matter is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. So
you're exactly right, because if a lot of these writers look inward and say, no matter if it's this year or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, do you think they are eventually a Hall of Famer? And they say yes, but they vote no.
Then why did you vote no, you idiot?
Exactly. That's what pisses me off. And
it's stupid.
I'm not condoning what Bonds did. I
no,
know
hell no. Yeah.
I know Clemens did. I know Sosa and Palmeiro. But this was the culture that baseball itself promoted by its ignorance. Yeah. And I'm not dismissing their actions. I'm not. I mean, I know we're going to potentially get some hate mail because I've, tweeted out and Facebook some stuff, and a lot of people have responded saying that these guys are cheaters and should never get in. But I think there's such a huge gray area because this is not winning a Nobel Prize.
No,
okay?
it's not. And so what do we do? We put nobody in for the next 10 years?
It's a sport. It's a sport.
Yeah.
Who gives a crap?
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, if we're going to start talking about how these guys don't deserve it, we're honestly just not going to vote anybody in for. And then we're not even done with the steroids era. People are still getting busted. So who's getting busted and who's not? We finally this year are going to have HGH or human growth hormone testing for the first time ever.
Super stoked about that, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. That just changes everything.
About that, literally 2 days on TortureCast before they announced that they were going to, and the union agreed to have blood tests for the players, because what that's going to do is they can detect HGH, and not only that, but they can establish some baseline testosterone levels. So future tests, when they're elevated, they can more concretely determine if a player has been taking synthetic testosterone, which is great. I think this is fantastic, and this will hopefully avoid those issues with like Ryan Braun this past year,
sure,
where he tested positive for elevated testosterone, but he got off on a technicality because of the way that the UPS or FedEx shipment was handled, which was such bullshit. Oops, there goes our clean rating.
Yeah, whatever. It's all good. All of this is bullshit.
And he was third in the second in the MVP voting this year, which chapped my hide. Because
it's like nobody cares about that, but yeah.
Such hypocrisy. You get these guys not voted into the Hall of Fame, but you get the same writers, by the way, or a lot of the same writers
voting for exactly
on second because he got off on if he was actually convicted because the technicality didn't fly, he wouldn't have been second in the MVP race.
By the way, these same writers are also the same writers who voted Clemens and Bonds to be MVP and Cy Young 7 times. So
that's true.
They obviously didn't have a problem with what they were doing at the time. They were very excited by it. And now all of a sudden they go, well, no, now we're going to judge exactly what those 7 MVPs and those 7 Cy Youngs are worth later after the fact. While he's playing and while they're hitting the home runs and they're striking a ton of people out and being really good, we're going to just pretend like that's the most amazing thing ever. But continue to shower accolades on these guys. It's just stupid.
As a baseball fan, though, I visited Cooperstown in 1995, kind of before this whole steroid scandal blew up. And so
that was right before. Yeah, that was right after baseball was like dead.
Yeah, it was right after the strike.
Yeah.
And I was, 22 years old or whatever, and I went out there, and it was Mecca. I mean,
sure.
Honestly, it was a magical, ethereal kind of experience for me because, I've been a baseball fan all my life and I've always wanted to see the Baseball Hall of Fame. And, even though that was almost 20 years ago, that was the pinnacle of kind of the baseball experience as far as viewing, reading, and touching, baseball. It transcended my lifetime. And to see what has happened and transgressed over the last 20 years, it kind of sullies what I experienced 20 years ago. Yeah. And it's kind of sad. I can't imagine, kids going to the Hall of Fame now and saying, well, why isn't Roger Clemens here or Barry Bonds or Sam?
Yeah, where's the guy with the most home runs in baseball, Dad? Oh, well, he's not here because we decided, But, I'm even less of a purist when it comes to I think Pete Rose should be there. I understand that what he did was crappy, right? And betting on baseball while you're involved in baseball is crappy, but I think there's
or Babe Ruth.
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of time that goes by and it's like, hey man, he's done his time. It's fine. Let the guy in. I don't want him to die and not have gotten in. You know what I mean?
That those guys were voted in before they really knew what they were, and so it's like, okay, well, baseball still holds the power to remove those guys from the Hall of Fame.
Sure, absolutely, why not? Yeah, just the friggin' perfect game where the umpire blew the call. Yeah, change the call. It's fine. No one's gonna be mad. No one's gonna be pissed off that you changed the call. It doesn't have to be like, oh nope, sorry. That mistake has been made, and we can't. No, you can go back. This is not like you didn't kill a guy. You called the wrong play, and we have it on videotape.
NFL does it.
Yeah, exactly. And we have it on friggin' videotape. You can look at it. All right, so let's move on. That's our bitch session right there about the BBWAA. By the way, BBWAA. Come on, that's like It's like the National or the American Dodgeball Association of America. It's stupid.
BBWAA.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up for us. Obviously, FanFest is coming up soon. That's February 9th, and we will be there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We will be there. So if anybody's around, I'm sure we'll be tweeting up a storm, but get at us on Twitter. Maybe we can meet up, have a beer, laugh at the people all standing in line to maybe get, I don't know, there's almost nobody I wouldn't want an autograph from, but I wouldn't stand in line for any.
Hey, last year they switched lines all the times, and the fact is that people were waiting in line for Buster Posey, and when they got up there, they switched players, and they got Roberto
Kelly. Yeah, exactly.
All right, sorry guys. Sorry, I apologize.
No, he's a great guy, though. He's a great guy.
He's a nice guy.
And also, hopefully, very soon we'll be interviewing the one and only Brian Sarabian. That's not Brian Sabian. That's Brian Sarabian. And he's the media guy, the social media consigliere over there for the Giants. So that'll be cool, and we're really looking forward to being able to talk to him. And look for that coming up soon. We're shooting for this weekend. We'll see how that goes. So there's also February 8th, Media Day. We're doing our best to try to get in there. We want to bring all that stuff to you guys. And that's, FanFest is great. FanFest is for the fans. But I really want to be there for Media Day. I really want to go check that out. So looking forward to that as well. And then, of course, we just already mentioned it, Pitchers and Catchers, February 12th. So holy crap, that's soon. Buster Posey right now is like already starting to think about how is he going to manage the relationship with Lincecum, and looking forward to that. So
your apartment
a lot of
is blowing up in laughter.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of funny things going on in my room right now. But all right, let's move on. Let's move on to another segment. Tweet at me, brah. All right, Chad, I don't know what the hell's going on with your tweet at me, bro, this week.
Okay, so this is a horrible tweet to choose because it's visual. So
yeah. Now, who tweeted this? What is this from?
I will post this on Facebook and Twitter so anyone can and the show notes so people can see what Logan Morrison, outfielder for the Florida Marlins or the Miami Marlins, because we all know that song. Now it's stuck in my head. He's a great tweeter. So he found this photo, shall we say, and he said, "Never eating fruit at another person's house again." And he retweeted from an account called Mirror Pick Monday, #poor banana. Yeah. And I don't know if I should actually describe this picture.
Let's just wait. Let everybody
just leave it up to the
it.
imagination of the listeners.
Bad things are happening to
check it out,
somebody's
the show
fruit,
notes.
and so that's gross.
Banana in an inappropriate place. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it's pretty gross, dude. Pretty gross. Logan Morrison, who are you hanging out with? All right, I'm gonna tweet at me, brah. With I don't even know who this guy is. Somebody who follows us, I guess. And tweeted at us.
Yeah.
And tweeted at us at TortureCast. Turns out Hunter Pence is a pretty hardcore Blizzard gamer. Pretty cool. Put a link up to a video where Hunter Pence is being interviewed by IGN and legitimately talking about video games as clearly he actually plays these games. There was one kind of thing that made me cringe a little bit. He said P versus P.
Yeah, P
several times. And I was like, P versus P.
Like 4 times.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know what P versus P is, but PvP is cool. But yeah, so he apparently plays WoW. He mentioned Pandaria.
Yeah.
And anybody who listens to this show may or may not know.
And Pandaria.
Yeah. May or may not know that I do a World of Warcraft podcast called The Instance. And that's actually how Chad and me met initially, was that Chad listened to that show. And actually produces content for it as well. So it's pretty cool to see that. And now we got to figure out how to get Hunter Pence on this show.
I know. I immediately tweeted out, but I figure there's no way he's getting like 100 tweets a day, so he's probably just filtering through that. But
I'm sure there's a ton of dudes out there who are going, "Oh, I play WoW at Hunter
I know
Pence."
exactly.
Yeah. So
can I
anyway.
talk to you? But no, he seems like a really cool guy and pretty down to earth. So maybe this year, you never know.
Who knows? I mean, I've been on the instance with Kurt Schilling before, and that was weird. And so why would this be more weird? It wouldn't. That would be
you already
less weird
talked
almost.
to a potential Hall of Famer. So,
Yeah. Well, and a guy, he'll get in, right? I mean,
eventually.
this is going to be what the BBWAA does just to show up those damn steroid users. They're going to put in the guy who openly hated on all the steroid users. But who knows if that sock was really bloody, though? Come on now. Who knows? I don't know.
A little ketchup between innings.
Yeah, make a great story. So that's pretty cool. And let's do this, Hunter. Hunter, if you're listening, if you're out there, all right, hit me up. All right, so I'm going to hate on somebody. Chad, you don't have one in here, but if you want to, feel free to join in on the hate.
Yeah, it's the same as yours. I actually had that in, then I deleted it. So you took my thunder, and I agree.
All right, sorry about that. But we'll both hate on these guys. This is a bunch of guys. Everybody who voted for the Hall of Fame this year. Now, granted, and we just talked ad nauseum about all this. Granted, you got your beef with the guys with the steroids, but can we just vote somebody in so we can at least celebrate the Hall of Fame? Because I think every year, that's kind of nice. All the old Hall of Famers get together. What are they going to do now? They're not going to get to that annual meeting. They're just not going to be able to come and see each other. You know what it is? It's like a big party or a big wedding.
Sure. Everybody's having a good time, and it's going to be this great conclusion. Everyone's going to have a wonderful time. And this whole group of people come in. These assholes come into this room.
They don't even play baseball, by the way. They just watch it and
throwing
talk about
shit
it
everywhere. They start, talking down, the people and the dresses and the decor. And suddenly everybody has a bad time, and everyone leaves going, that was a shitty party.
Yeah. That's like
what
the
Bros.
Did. Anybody who grew up in San Francisco in the 90s knows about the Bros, and that's basically what that was. They'd show up at your party and try to steal all the beer. They would just start fighting people. It was awful. It was terrible.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Yeah, the writers are the Bros. All right, so, yeah, you guys suck. And, Stan Musial died this year. Wouldn't it have been a great time to be able to have somebody voted in and then be able to have someone talk about Stan, the friggin' man?
Stan the man. They have this great picture of Bochy shaking his hand right before the NLDS in St. Louis, or the NLCS. I'm sorry, St. Louis. So he really died just a couple of months after the playoffs.
Yeah, no, it's and that's one of those. That's even as a non-Cardinals. He's like what other people must think about when they think of like Willie Mays.
Willie Mays, exactly. Yeah. He's an icon of baseball, and to lose him, and
then we don't get to have some kind of cool Hall of Fame celebration. So I'm pissed. I'm pissed at you guys. You guys suck. All right, let's end on a high note. Why are we going to win it all? Chad, you got anything for this, or you want to let me go?
No, I'll let you go.
All right. I mentioned this actually earlier too. I'm kind of rehashing some stuff here again, but I think we're going to win it all because we've already wrapped up all the big pieces from last year. All the question marks, all the things we were worried about. Wrapped all those pieces up. Those pieces are good to go. Didn't fall in love with guys who maybe won't help. I don't think we're going to have an Aubrey Huff type guy on the team this year. There are still a couple of big contracts, but I'm pretty sure that we got guys at the right times and guys are still going to produce. I don't think anybody's on the downtail or the downside, at least the immediate downside of their careers right now. So I think we picked up all the right guys at the right times. And Sabian's making all the right moves now. I don't see any reason to think that he won't make all the right moves at the trade deadline. So where the Giants happen to be halfway through the year, and obviously we don't know how good or not good the Dodgers are going to be. Not only that, there's a couple of teams that could potentially be scary in the West. So since we don't know exactly what those teams are actually going to be like and how good or not good they're going to be, it's very, very likely, highly likely, that we're going to have to make some kind of move at the deadline, just like we do every year, just like almost every team that contends does every year.
Absolutely.
And I fully trust that Sabian will find that right guy and that right piece. He seems to do it all the time, so that's why we're going to win it all. Brian Sabian making all the right moves. All
yeah,
right.
all I can say is they have almost the same team as they did last year, and the Giants always seem to pull the right strings, and we have cash in the bank with 2 World Series victories in the last 3 years. So, as a Giants fan, it doesn't get much better than this.
No, yeah. See, the Giants, if you think about it, have a 66% chance of winning the World Series every year.
Okay, so imagine this: Jim Harbaugh drove some of the players around during the World Series parade in October.
Bruce Bochy.
Now, turnabout is fair play.
That's right.
In about a week from now, potentially, a little more than a week from now, it is possible that Bruce Bochy will be driving Jim Harbaugh around.
Yeah.
And we could have 2 championships in this city this year.
That would be nuts, dude. That's
incredible.
Ridiculously nuts. By the way, Alex Smith also drove some guys around. You remember how long? I mean, it doesn't seem that long ago, but if you think about it, Alex Smith was our starting quarterback back then. That was so long ago, man. Man, we need to win another World Series, dude. It's like I can't even remember it anymore. All right, so that's going to do it for episode 43, the Dave Dravecky episode of the Torture Cast. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow all of us collectively at TortureCast. You can also follow each and one of us individually. Chad is at ChadK21. Ben is at Fried Duck. By the way, Ben wasn't here today. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of things going on with his family, so we wish him the best, and we can't wait to get him back on. You can also follow me. I am at Willie Dills. Find us on Facebook. We also have, iTunes, the blog, torturecast.com. So many things, you guys. Go out there and get them all. Some stuff recently happened, too. There's a really cool thing that Michael from Grubby Glove does with the Brian Stowe stuff. So some really cool stuff. He posted a bunch of stuff on our Facebook the other day about how a bunch of people had come from, a bunch of new Giants fans had come and found his little site there. So maybe they came because of us. Who knows? I don't know. But it's all good stuff. So find us, talk to us, come meet up with us at FanFest. It's all good. This is episode 43 for Chad and the absent Ben. My name is Willie Dills. We'll see you next time. Boom. A big thank you to everybody for listening to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.